Please welcome Kelly Brickley.
Can you guys hear me okay, or use the microphone, use the technology as we have it? I better put my glasses on so I can see you all out there. So yes, my name's Kelly Brickley. I am the Senior Business Consultant with CCiNZ here in New Zealand. I've been in this contact centre game many years. Started out on the floor as an agent back in 1990 at Telecom in Hamilton in the customer service centre. Fell into it like a lot of us do, but it's been very good to me. As Chris mentioned, I was lucky to work with an organisation called CCiNZ, and Belinda's sitting over there, and spent 10 years in the States with them, and then also worked with a company called ICMI, who are the largest contact centre consulting and training organisation in the Northern Hemisphere. So that gave me a lot of really great experience. And then I had a couple of babies and I thought I'd better come back to New Zealand because I need my mummy to help me now. So I came home, and since then I've been running my own consulting business. But most recently I've actually joined an organisation called CCiNZ. And the reason I joined them is because that's all we do. We do contact centres, that's it. You know, a lot of you guys, you have a contact centre to support your organisation and support the product and services, but this is what we do. We do contact centres. We've got about 7,000 agents across 4 different countries, and we do a number of, we help large organisations and different brands like Vodafone and Flybys with their contact centre operations. And we also help with defining the customer management strategy for companies and organisations like IRD and BNZ, and then we actually help them implement that strategy in real terms. So, great organisation there that I work for. So, this is actually a screenshot of a consulting gig we did recently with a client. And it's the anatomy of a contact centre. And what this actually demonstrates is all the bits and pieces of the contact centre puzzle that we have to deal with. We've identified 20 different points here. And this was a customer effort audit that we did. So we looked at this organisation and we compared its maturity across all of these different aspects of the contact centre. And you can sort of see in the middle there where they sort of fell in line with those different pieces. So that's something that our team does from a consultative approach. What I'm going to talk about today is number 17, which is self-service. If we think about it from the speech side of the coin, so to speak, you know, we've had the IVRs around for a long time, but they have really evolved. They've evolved from the standard call up, press 1 for this, 2 for that, to what, you know, we've implemented at IRD, which is a full voice biometric solution. What does that mean? I don't know if many of you have called IRD recently, but you call in, you register, and it's taking a voice print. Okay, similar to a fingerprint, but it's a voice print. And then every time you call in now, it authenticates you and identifies you through your voice print, and you're able to engage with the IRD in a self-service way and access information specific to you like you've never been able to do before. So we can see that on the speech side, the IVR has really evolved. But what I'm going to talk about today is on the digital side of the coin, and how that's evolving and where we're actually heading in that respect. So does the customer experience really matter? Of course it does. It was interesting what Ian was just saying. You don't have to make the car park beautiful and flash and gorgeous and valet service to satisfy me, but it's got to be adequate. But at the end of the day, we do know that dissatisfied customers require more support. The average handle time's longer because the agent's spending the first 5 minutes of the call, you know, calming them down, saying sorry, you know, empathising, all that sort of jazz, right? So we do know it takes longer, it costs us more to support those customers. With the advent of social media, you know, they're going to tell everyone about it, aren't they? And they typically will tell us about share a bad experience versus share a good experience. And they do want and expect speedy resolution. And again, as what Ian pointed out about first contact resolution being one of the critical metrics in our contact centre, and there's a good reason for it, because if we can increase our first contact resolution rates or contact resolution rates, we're going to operate a lot more efficiently. So yeah, it's back to basics. It is, yes, customer experience matters. And we know that Harvard Business Review did a survey, and they said that if you actually meet the experience that the customers expect, customers will spend 140% more with you. So it actually does matter to the bottom line. So if you can meet the expectations, they're going to spend more with you. And they're also going to stay longer as well. And what I find really interesting is how do we, if we're talking about it from a digital perspective, how do we deliver an amazing customer experience in the digital realm when there's no people doing it? You know, we're sort of handing off the experience and it's a machine doing it, or it's the website, or it's Facebook. And one of the other challenges we find is that, you know, us in the contact centre, we're used to managing customers. We live and breathe it. We want to delight them. We want to make them happy. We do everything to help them. But the digital side of the fence is typically being managed by a different team, isn't it? By your marketing team or your digital teams. And what we find on the digital side is that the marketing teams have a lot, their measures are very different, aren't they, to what we measure. So we're talking about service level or first contact resolution or quality, whatever it might be. But on that side, they're looking at things like, let's say if the marketing team are going to run a campaign, and so they're going to be measured on the amount of traffic that campaign has generated to the website, haven't they? Aren't they? So if they're getting lots and lots of hits, they're very, very excited, they're high-fiving each other, they're thinking, oh, we've done a great job. Meanwhile, back at the contact centre ranch, so to speak, we're getting hammered by a whole lot of inbound volume, unexpected, unplanned for, that has been generated by this campaign over here. Yeah, sound familiar? Yes? So that's what we've got to think about. How do we get this, these two talking together, and what's the right measures we need to be looking at? So when it comes to that sort of the marketing team and their campaigns, they need to be measuring what percentage of those customers couldn't find what they wanted and needed. You know, what percentage of the customers that were generated by the campaign hit the website, for example, but actually abandoned or failed out or called the contact centre. That's what we need to be looking at. I have not met Vic, but we didn't collaborate prior to our presentations today. But I'm going to also talk about industry disruptors, and I'm also going to talk about Uber. And there's a reason for it. So if we think about from the customer experience, and we look at, say, Uber, they have become a phenomenal success. And the reason for it is it's easy. It's all there is to it. They've made it easier. Now, taxis have been around since the horse and carriage, right? They've been around forever. They've not actually changed the product or what they're actually doing. A car turns up, it picks you up, it takes you to where you want to go, and then it drops you off. So the actual product itself hasn't changed. What has changed and what they've done is they've actually made the two key processes, ordering the taxi and paying for the taxi, much easier. They've digitised it, they've made it a self-service play. And that's how they've been able to decimate pretty much the taxi industry. The same goes for Airbnb. Who's used them? Yeah. I was lucky enough to head down to Queenstown the other weekend for the first time in about 15 years. So the last time I went, my accommodation options were hotel, motel, backpacker. Well, I'm not doing the backpacker thing, right? But hotel or motel, so I stayed in a hotel. Whereas this time, I went on to Airbnb. A whole raft of different accommodation options were opened up to me, and we ended up staying in this really cool 2-bedroom person's apartment overlooking the lake, had a hot tub, was fantastic for the same money as the hotel. So what Airbnb have been able to do is, again, they've made it a lot easier for you to find the product, haven't they? The product's always been there, the houses and the batches and the holiday homes, they've always been there, but Airbnb have made it easy for you to find it. Just like Uber has made those two customer processes a lot easier to do. I download the app, I click on, I want my address, I can see where my car is and it's Bob's going to be picking me up, right? And then when I get out, it's all paid for. So think about that concept, making it easy. It's a basic thing. We all know about this in our customer management world, but the basics still rule, making it easy to do business with us. So going on to that sort of thing, around the whole metrics piece of it, I know that most of you are probably measuring customer satisfaction. Yeah? Nods. Some of you will be measuring net promoter score. Any nods? I haven't got my glasses on. I need my glasses to read this thing here. But there is the challenge with those two metrics is they're actually macro metrics. They sort of, we all sort of everything rolls up to an overall one customer sat score, yeah? And it's really difficult to pinpoint and define what service or product or system or process or team or department has either positively or negatively impacted that result, whether the score's gone up or down. The same goes with the Net Promoter Score as well. So there is a new measure, well, it's not new, but it's not really sort of out there as much, and it's called customer effort. And this actually it will outperform both customer sat and Net Promoter Score in predicting customers' behaviour. Now, the difference between CSAT, NPS, and customer effort is actually a micro measure. You are able to pinpoint and identify certain touch points along the customer journey. And when a customer has interacted with one of your contact centre agents or they've gone online and filled out a form, we can ask them a very simple question. How easy was that for you to do business with us? So we're able to determine, customer effort allows us to figure out what process, what system, what team, what product is causing these measures to go up and down. So it's really important that we look at these different key touch points, and Ian again talked about the customer journey, the different points along the way, and look at each of those points, but also the overall customer journey and experience. And Forrester research backs this up as well. They say that if you measure across the touch points as well as the full customer journey, you're going to get faster revenue growth, and there's a 30 to 40% correlation with customer sat around a full journey measure versus the touch points. I'm saying you need to do both. You've got to measure each touch point along those key journeys. And again, as Ian said, you can't measure every touch point across every journey, but your common journeys. So if we think about this whole concept of making it easy for our customers to do business with us and customer effort, there is some challenges, like I say, around us letting go and letting our customers go into that digital realm, and we're not going to be able to touch them and do anything with them anymore, and we're just relying on the digital to look after them. So a couple of myths I want to dispel here. First one is we're forcing our customers into self-service to drive cost out of the contact centre. Well, that actually is a myth, because 72% of us now choose digital first. And I do. I'm on the phone, I want to find out information, I've got my cell phone or my laptop, that's where I go first. I don't do this anymore, I'm on my mobile. So that's what our customers are choosing first. And I think this is really, really important, because that's what they want, and that's what they're doing. They're going digital first. Digital strategy has nothing to do with contact centre strategy. As we know, there is a real disconnect between our digital teams and our contact centre teams, isn't there? And 57% of inbound calls are due to digital self-service channels failing over. So I've gone digital first, I can't find it, and I perceive it's easier now for me to call someone, so I fail over to the contact centre. So there's a lot of inbound volume into your contact centres that is unnecessary. If digital was doing what it needed to do and the customer could self-resolve there in the channel they've chosen first, we're going to get rid of a lot of that inbound volume. The other thing is digital is setting an expectation. We're becoming more impatient because we have got everything at our fingertips right now. If it doesn't work straight away, then I'm more inclined to go elsewhere. Now, what customers used to do in the past is fail over to the contact centre, but what we're seeing now is they're going on to Mr. Google and finding a competitor and going onto their website, and if they can find it on their website or their phone app or Facebook page, they're going to buy there, aren't they? So we're actually losing that opportunity. So the next piece is only people can truly deliver a great customer experience. And 65% of customers in an ICMI study said they felt actually really good about themselves and also really good about the company when they were able to self-serve and solve their problems without having to call or talk with customer service. So like I say, customers are going digital first, they want to self-resolve, and yes, people are really important, but we need to use our people power in the right way. So if we are all thinking, oh, we're going to move everything digital, it doesn't mean that the contact centre goes away. It just means that we're utilising that people power in the right way. So I was at the Financial Services Conference a couple of weeks ago at Sky City, and Angela Dixon, who's the GM of operations at IAG, said their focus is on getting rid of the dumb stuff. So that high transaction, easy stuff. You know, I remember being in the contact centre way back in the day. You know, I would take about 80 calls a day, and you get the same phone call over and over and over and over again, okay, about the same thing, something really basic and simple. So that's what we've got to think about, is how do we transition those high transactional, sort of easy stuff into the digital experience, which can free up our people power to handle more complex and actually utilise that resource in a better way. So we know that we need to offer self-service in the digital channels, and a lot of us already are. And one of the challenges with our environment is that we've got multiple different channels now, haven't we? So on the right-hand side, we've got the old channels: phone, mail, walking in the door, and then we've added, you know, email, and as we go along. Like 10 years ago, we were figuring out email, weren't we? Oh, do I queue emails? You know, what do I do with these email things? But now I have to worry about Twitter, my social media, text, Messenger, Facebook Messenger, all these different mobility. And so we've added all these channels, and we're giving customers all of these lovely options, yet our contact centres are as busy as ever, are they not? So why is that? It's because customers, we know, are choosing digital first, but they're going on and they can't, the digital channel's failing them for whatever reason. So it might be it's not there, or it's there, but I can't find it. Yeah. It's too hard. I was on a banking website the other day, and I wanted to apply. I was just playing around. I thought I'll see what the process is to apply for a loan, and this form came up which had, I think it was 30 different fields I had to fill out, and there was 3 pages of it. That's not easy. So what am I going to do? Well, that's way too hard to call a contact centre. The answer's there, the information's available, but it's secure, so I can't access it because it's secure information, or the answer's in another system, so the website can't, I can't access it, or else existing processes require human intervention. One of the comments that one of the ladies at the conference said earlier, the other day, I thought was really interesting. She said, don't just digitise, right? You've got to look at the process as it is. Don't just digitise a broken process. It's okay to start from scratch. And that's what we're seeing a lot of happen. I was actually talking with Belinda about this recently, where, we digitise it, so they log on the website or what have you, but then it goes to the team that then has to still print it out, and do this manual faxing back and all this sort of stuff. That process is broken. So don't think you're doing well if you've digitised a broken process. So the problem too is if we do, we're asking, customers are wanting to go digital first, and if they can't find it, what happens is their trust is broken, isn't it? If it doesn't work that first time. Well, I'm not going to bother going there. I'll just call the contact centre again next time. So they want to self-resolve. So what we do is go, oh, fantastic. What we'll do is customers are failing because they feel that if I interact with the human, I'm going to get a better experience, I'm going to get what I want. Would you agree with that? Yeah. So we go, oh, great idea, let's have web chat. Yeah? So we do, and we turn it on, and what happens? Well, some recent, I don't know, in the media, I won't name the company, but they turned it on and they had to add 300 FTE as a result of turning on web chat. It's like opening the floodgates. It's just another channel, but the difference is, or not the difference is you're thinking it's a digital channel, but it's still people powered, isn't it? You still need people to be on the other end doing the chat. So we've come a long way. If we turn on web chat, we just, I can't then go to my boss and say, hey, we just turned on web chat and I've done my workforce management and I've done my forecasting and I need 10 more FTE, thanks. Is that cool? That ain't going to happen, is it? So we need to figure out what we can do to keep the customer engaged in the channel and in digital. And we need to align our thinking too with our friends in the digital marketing team. So how do we create the right customer journeys or experience? The key thing is digital in in the contact centre, we need to start talking. We need to come together. We need to find some common ground. And we've been doing this for a while, haven't we? We've been doing this, managing customers in the contact centre for a very, very long time. We're very mature, we know what we're doing, and we've figured out of all the different metrics and things that we could be measuring, we've figured out that there is one that actually really does impact satisfaction, and it also means if it's the higher it is, the more operationally effective or efficient we are. So what is that measure? First contact resolution, exactly. Now, what's nice about first contact resolution is it actually can transition perfectly into the digital realm, can't it? If you take that concept of calling in once and done, don't have to call back, apply that into your mobile app or your website, or go onto the website, once and done, I'm completed, again, it works, doesn't it? So this is where us as leaders in the contact centre world can reach out to our digital counterparts and share our knowledge and experience around how FCR is the right measure and how it can transition beautifully across to the digital realm. And what that also means is that we're all basically on the same page then, aren't we? We're all singing off the same page in the hymn book, so to speak. And whenever any decisions are being made around products or services or launches or what have you, we can look at that through the FCR lens and say, right, how is that going to impact our first contact resolution? Now, we also want to marry that with customer effort. Yeah, so those two, I think, go hand in hand. So if I look at how is this going to, if whatever I'm doing, how is that going to impact my first contact resolution rates? How is it going to impact my customer's effort? How hard is it going to be for my customer to do what they want to do? We're going to be a long way on the track. So we need to engage and talk with digital. We're going to focus on FCR and customer effort. And we also want to be doing looking at our voice a customer as well. Now, I know a lot of you, or most of you, will have some level of survey or voice a customer in the program, but one of the key things we need to figure out, first of all, on the digital side, what percentage of those hits are abandoning off the website, and where are they ending up? So are they coming into the contact centre? And if so, why? What's driven those calls into the contact centre? So a very simple way for you guys to do that, and I'm sure a lot of you already are, is just using your wrap-up codes. Okay, so why did you call in? I was on the website trying to find X. Oh, okay, so we want to be able to track that, and we want to feed that information back to our digital teams, and that's a way for us to build those bridges, to demonstrate value to our digital counterparts, to get that trust, and so we can work together and create that full customer experience. People power. So if we can increase our resolution, we're going to have we're going to reduce the level of unnecessary calls into the contact centre. So what does it actually mean for the contact centre? If we're going to reduce our call volume, what does that mean? We're going to increase the capacity we have in our centre. We're going to have more time. Time is always the issue in our contact centres. We're going to have more time to do things. So what would you do today if I could give you 30% capacity? What would you do with it? I want you to think on that. We'll come back to that. So when we think about our digital experience, we know customers go there first. How do we increase the first contact resolution rates in the digital experience so we can reduce the number of calls failing over to our contact centre? So we've got to think about the tools and the help that we're providing in those digital experiences, yeah? So if you think about right now going to a site, you've got the search field, there might be some help on there as well, yeah? And what happens when I do that? Well, I hit search, how do I do X? And what I get delivered is a list of links and documents, isn't it? Yeah? And then I have to click into each one and try and find the answer. Is that easy? No, it's high effort on my part. So then we've done we've done quite well. We've got that search option, and then we've got, a lot of people are still failing over, so let's put web chat on. Yeah, great. So we put that on, but what happens? We've got to people power that. So what tools can we use in the middle to try and get that resolution? So bots. They've been mentioned twice before. Like I say, I haven't collaborated with Nick, and I haven't collaborated with Ian, but yeah, welcome bots. And when I said earlier about the evolution of the speech side from the basic IVR through to full biometrics, this is the evolution we're seeing in the digital realm. So, what is a bot? Melissa McFarlane, who's the Chief Digital Officer at Westpac, she said, robo-advice will be as big as internet banking. Who has internet banking? Most of us. I was actually meeting with Nicola, sitting at B's table actually, Belinda's table, from Tauranga City Council on Wednesday, and we were having discussion around this, and she was sort of saying, hey, it's fine, yep, I can allow customers to check their account balance online, that's fine, but it typically doesn't end there. They then want to know more. They want to know, okay, well, when was the payment made? How did I make the payment? How much was the payment for? When's my next payment due? Yeah, so we need to think about how we extend the experience for our customers in that digital realm. So what bots do is they fill the gap between that traditional search and then the need to escalate to live chat or fail over to the contact centre. So they're filling that hole. They're like an intervention, and the way that they intervene is by creating a human-like experience, okay, and finding and helping you to resolution. That is the point of the bot. Now, the bot, another term might be, I quite like concierge, okay, I think website concierge is quite nice. Virtual assistant is another term you might have heard about. But the whole idea is, like I say, how do you keep them in that channel, keep them in that digital space and help them to resolution? We've got a stat here that we did some research that 61% of customer interactions predicted to be self-service by 2020. That's a lot, isn't it? That's a lot. So what the bot does is it sits in between all these different interaction channels and allows you to access lots of different information. So what can the bot do? I've put a couple of shots up because I kind of like to see stuff. What do you mean by a bot? What does it sort of look like? And the couple of examples I've got here actually look like a web chat window, don't they? Yeah? And we can see that they've got some pictures. One's a sort of more human-like, and one's a cartoony type one. So it's sort of really how you want to represent your brand as far as the bot's concerned. But what it is actually doing is creating a web chat-like experience without having to people power it. So what can bots do? Bots can answer your question and serve from a knowledge base. So can I take a dog on the train? It serves the answer, specific, short, sharp answer, and that's what we've got with Ask Lisa there. Can I take a dog on the train? She's gone and using natural language processing has interpreted what the customer wants and has served a short answer from the KB or the knowledge base. Who's got a really great knowledge base that's really tidy, that's got no old versus new versions, and it's absolutely perfect? Who's got one? Yeah. Yeah. I've yet to see one myself, okay? So what we can do is, based on common, frequently asked questions, we can reach into the right place in the knowledge base and serve that answer, as opposed to that list, and I have to go and find it myself. It can access other systems. So the example I gave with Nicola at Tauranga City Council, yep, I can go, and it's customer specific, because I can be authenticated. It can authenticate me and identify me, and I can find my account balance, but then I can ask it, when was that paid? And off it goes, finds that out and serves that information back. So again, it's these high transactional, I don't want to use the term easy transactions, but more like the high volume stuff, the dumb stuff, as Angela Dixon put it. How can we transition that across? It can access your CRM. What's the status of my claim? Sure, I can help you with that. What's your claim number? Key it in, goes off, finds that claim number, it gives you the status of the claim. So really the world of the bot and what it can achieve for you is really quite wide. And again, it's a matter of you guys sort of thinking, what are those sort of high transaction common reasons why customers go on the website? What do they want? What are they trying to find? What are they looking for? It can play a YouTube video. It can pop a different website. It can actually take you to where you need to be without you having to find it for yourself. So there's a lot of opportunity there with what they can do. Now, this is, again, bots is not about preventing the customer with speaking to a real person. It's not what it's about. It's about trying to shave off and intervene and help before they have to fail over to the contact centre or web chat. That's what it's trying to achieve. So, any Air New Zealand people here? No? Okay, well, I'm going to use them as an example. So I'm on the Air New Zealand website because I love to travel, and I'm engaging with the bot or the virtual assistant, and then it says, look, I can help you purchase some tickets. Yes, I would love you to help me purchase some tickets. So first of all, it might ask me, what date do you want to travel, how many travellers, and as we go through this process, the bot identifies that I'm actually wanting to buy 5 around-the-world first-class tickets. Do we want the bot handling that? Do we? A high-value sale like that? No, I don't want the bot handling that. So the bot can recognise this and immediately escalate and transfer that contact to a live web chat agent and take all the history with it. So it's like I say, it's not about stopping us talking with live people, but it's about what is the right kind of transaction that we want our valuable people power resource to handle, yeah, versus these high transactional easy things. So it's also something, if we take this concept about helping you find, guiding you, holding your hand until you resolve, let's take that same concept for our contact centre people. Yeah? So if I'm a new agent, I'm trying to navigate my way through the KB. You know, Bob over here has been in the contact centre for 10 years. All the knowledge is in his head. Whereas I'm new, we can take that same concept. They can key into the virtual assistant. You know, how do I do this process? And it will take them either to the right process, you know, part in the KB. It's guiding them and helping them. So it really will have a big impact on your speed to competency rates for your new agents. And it's not just a tool for contact centre. Anyone in the organisation can utilise it. There's a bank, the Bank of Dubai. What they did is they actually put a virtual assistant as a kiosk in their branches because they had all these big long queues, and so they utilise it in that way. So there's a lot of different things we can do with it, and this stuff works. And this is one of the things I get excited about. I'm a bit of a technology geek. I love being what's innovative, what's new, what's coming, and this is not bleeding edge anymore. There are a lot of organised, you guys have all heard about this, haven't you? Yeah, you're asking questions about it. It's because we realise that this stuff works. 95% typical accuracy. At Verizon, which is one of the largest telcos in the States, they reduced, had a huge ROI, 20 to 30% reduction in your inbound volume. So, the numbers speak for themselves. Okay, so the bot's helping us, they're guiding the customer, they're helping with some resolution. So what actually does happen to the contact centre? So I asked you guys earlier, if I could give you 20 or 30% capacity, what would you do with it? What would you do with it?
Actually keep our knowledge base up to date.
Yeah.
We don't have time to do that at the moment.
Exactly, you don't have time to do that or this or many other things. We never, I've like I say, worked in many different contact centres, and as soon as it starts getting busy, what's the first thing that goes? Training, coaching, all of that stuff back on the phones. So if we had some time, maybe, here's a concept, increase your average handle time. How dare I say such a thing? But if I can give my agents more time, that's going to have a massive impact on first contact resolution rates, isn't it? I was at a centre recently where they were, when they get busy, they turn to what they call the log, and they put it out there, it's the log and flog. Time to log and flog, everyone. Okay, so instead of trying to solve, it's a help desk, instead of trying to solve the problem, they just log the case and we'll do it later. Meanwhile, back at the customer ranch, they're like, what's happening with my... So think about that. How do you utilise that capacity? We can increase average handle time, spend more time with the customer. Like I say, increase the activities and improve the skill level of our staff and their performance, the coaching, the training, all that great stuff. And then also utilising these tools as well, these bots, to help the agent self-resolve instead of having to put me on hold, talk to their supervisor or talk to the mate next door, or again, log a case when they didn't really need to, yeah? So, and then what we can do is actually transition the functions of the contact centre. And again, I was meeting with someone recently, and their digital and market and their ICT team are saying, we're going to digitise everything, we're going to put everything up there. All the main processes are going to go on the website, that's what's happening. And the contact centre are like, okay, well, let's just sort of think ahead here. What's going to happen when that doesn't work? They're going to call us, and they can actually see themselves transitioning into more of a help desk versus answering the common questions that they do now. So that's what we sort of need to be thinking in the longer term. How do we transition? What are we going to look like in 2, 5, 10 years when a lot of these functions are moving that way? Because that's what our customers want. So how about we be more proactive? hey Kelly, just wanted you to know that your mortgage payment's due to come out tomorrow and you've got no money in the account. Okay, that's very valuable to me, yeah? Something simple like that. So how do we be more proactive? How do we educate our customers? And then the last bit here, I've sort of touched on it earlier, providing digital teams and other departments the really valuable insight. So why they're failing, why they're calling, what's working, what's not. Because our customers do that, don't they? They call in and they say, God, I was just on your website and I was just trying to do this and it didn't work. Yeah, that's valuable information which we need to be sharing. Okay, so contact centre, don't worry, contact centre's not going anywhere. It's going to change and evolve and complement what's happening in our digital channels. Okay, so just a little bit of a summary. We need to start talking to our digital counterparts, don't we? And we've got something really important to talk to them about. And we can be leaders and demonstrate thought leadership to them, which is that whole conversation around first contact resolution and customer effort. Yeah, and get us all on the same page. And like I say, we've got 7,000 contact centre agents across 4 different countries. We've actually got 800 here in Auckland. And like I say, that's what we do, is we do contact centres. And I'd like to think that we do things quite in a best practice way. So we have an open door policy, and I want to extend to all of you, if you'd like to come into our contact centres at Salmat and see what we do and how we do it, you're more than welcome to do that. Paul Fitzsimons, who's my partner in crime, is somewhere over the back there. Paul, stand up, wave your hand. There he is. Obviously, we're going to be here for the rest of the day, so feel free to come and talk to us. Does anybody have any questions? I can put my glasses back on now and see you all. No questions? Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, everyone.